Susie had spent years navigating the layers of her own past, engaging in deep healing work. Yet, despite her progress, a profound and unexplainable void continued to echo through her daily life. This process is known as betrayal blindness. When a child is subjected to horrific abuse by a caregiver they depend on for survival, their mind builds amnesic walls. The trauma is compartmentalized behind these barriers, so the core identity can continue to function without being destroyed. These walls house cult-loyal parts, identities that often present as dark or aggressive. While they may seem dangerous, they are actually protective fragments of the self, holding the weight of the cult's programming. For Susie, moving forward meant looking past the fear of these parts and treating the process as a rescue mission rather than a confrontation with an enemy. Behind the wall sat Amy, a 12-year-old alter who had carried the psychological weight of witnessing her twin sister's sacrifice. Amy was the fragment created to absorb the trauma the rest of the system could not. Amy's internal reality is completely detached from the physical world. She believes she is an astral child, living safely within a glowing castle in the astral realm, far removed from the pain of her physical body. From Amy's perspective, her internal witchcraft serves God. Because her reality has been inverted by her abusers, she views the adult Susie, the one seeking healing, as a threat to their shared safety. Mind control functions by convincing a victim that their only hope for survival lies in the hands of their captors. By fabricating this reality, the cult ensures the hostage will fight to maintain their own imprisonment. Programming Amy required more than just violence. It required spiritual hypocrisy. The cult combined physical torture with twisted theological lessons to ensure her total compliance. By hijacking a child's natural need for a savior, the cult wrapped horrific rituals in religious language. This distorted Amy's moral compass, leading her to believe that obedience to her abusers was a divine requirement. This historical image of a lodge room illustrates the institutional setting used to maintain a front of normalcy. Within these secretive spaces, fraternal orders taught Amy her involvement in the occult was righteous service. This systematic deception constructed a false Jesus inside Amy's mind, a deity demanding dark rituals and absolute submission while masquerading as a source of holy light. Amy used a specific psychological escape mechanism to survive. Taught she was an astral child, this belief disconnected her actions from their consequences. This allowed her to follow orders while internally convinced she was avoiding the resulting physical and spiritual pain. The conflict began to surface when Susie entered a deep prayer session, petitioning for spiritual freedom and directly challenging the strength of her amnesic walls. Responding to this internal shift, Amy stepped out from behind the wall. She faced Susie with the confidence of someone who still believed her imagined magical armor made her invincible. This was the start of an internal negotiation, one where the captive was not yet aware that her castle was actually a cell. The ministers working with Susie didn't attack Amy's beliefs. Instead, they methodically walked her through the objective reality of her exploitation, stripping away the lies of her false religion. The realization hit Amy with a profound sense of shock. For the first time, she had to face the true nature of the darkness she had been tricked into serving. The psychological defenses she had relied on for years began to fracture. Her protective magic, visualized as intricate, glowing armor, begins cracking and dissolving into dust. With the illusions gone, the invincible warrior disappeared. In her place stood a 12-year-old girl who was finally able to feel the weight of her own loss and her need for help. By removing the illusion of control, the truth allowed Susie to reach the child buried beneath the decades of programming. The extraction began with Susie offering Amy a genuine sense of safety. Together, they revisited the core memories that had fueled Amy's trauma, working to break the bonds the cult had established. Amy chose to renounce the dedications and spells she had lived under. By repenting for the rituals she had been forced to perform, she began to reclaim her own human spirit. She presented her case in prayer and received what she understood to be a final verdict: forgiven and not guilty through the blood of Yeshua. This shift from condemnation to peace marked a significant milestone in her recovery. For Susie, the internal void began to fill with a new sense of presence. As Amy started to integrate into Susie's daily reality, the comfort of knowing her twin sister was finally at peace provided a foundation for the long-term work of healing. Cult-loyal parts are fragments of a story carrying unbearable loss. Recovery comes from the bravery required to rescue the children hidden within.